We're continuing the 10 fatal mistakes that business owners make and how you can avoid them. Listen, I know you're busy, and as a business owner myself, when someone tells me you need to start something new, here's what I think about. That means more time, more energy, and more money for me to take away from my core business and focus on something new. I learned a secret a couple years ago that dramatically skyrocketed my business, and I want to share it with you. Instead of starting something new, I learned to stop doing the things that weren't leading me to success. It's a stop doing list. So what I want to do now, I shared with you the first 5 earlier. I now want to share the next 5 business mistakes the business owners make and how you can avoid them. All right, mistake number 6, not admitting your mistakes. You know, a wise friend once told me, Derek, remember that people like imperfect people better. When he told me that, at first it blew my hair back a little bit. I had to process what he was thinking. But what he was saying was, people like authentic and real people. They like people who are like them, not who try to be all things to all people and perfect. Think about this. When you go to a friend's house and every pillow is perfect, there's not a dish in the sink, every blade of carpet is perfectly vacuumed, there's no speck of dust, you feel like you're in a surgical room and can't be yourself. But if there's something out of place and it looks like it's lived in, you feel like it's a warmer environment. That's what people want from you as the business owner. They know you're not perfect, so act like it. And by the way, if you make a mistake and your team knows it, you need to fess up quickly. Because here's the best way to trash any level of integrity you've got is to avoid admitting that you made the mistake. Listen, I make plenty of them. You can ask my wife, she'll verify that. I'll make more today. But fess up quickly, own it, and what it does, you might think it makes you look weak. It actually makes you stronger because people see, here's a real and raw person who owned their stuff. I want to work with them. Mistake number 7, not getting buy-in from your team. Now let's face it, you are the boss. You are the business owner. You can do what you want. But here's what I find. If you want a team that's going to go to battle for you and with you, you want their buy-in. Now, I know as a business owner, you may think that, hey, my ideas are the best. I don't need anybody else's feedback. And you may not even want their feedback. But here's what I suggest you do. And here's what has helped me and other people I've coached. Get your key team members in a room. It doesn't have to be the whole company, but your key leaders. Run the idea by them and say, look, I've got this idea, but you are smart. That's why I hired each of you. I want you to tell me what could go right with this idea and what could go wrong, and give them the chance to give their unfiltered feedback. Man, if you want to build a team that's powerful and with you and wants to go to battle to serve the needs of your customers and solve their problems, get their feedback. And also let them know, listen, I may not always take your feedback, but I value it. Because what we know is when people leave a company, it's often because they don't feel listened to, heard, or valued. You want to be the leader that values your team's feedback, and they know that, hey, they may not take the feedback, but at least they let me give it, and I felt heard. That's the way to be the super manager and the super business owner in today's economy. Mistake number 8, being a totally hands-off manager. Listen, I get it. You might have worked at a company where you yourself were micromanaged. And so oftentimes when you have your own business, the pendulum swings the opposite and you say, I was micromanaged, I will not be a micromanager. Now, that can be good because you're not breathing down your employees' throats and you're not hovering over them on every decision they make. But here's the problem. In the name of you being a non-micromanager, you might actually be a non-relationship builder. You see, what you may be communicating, whether you know it or not, is Listen, he or she trusts me, but they're never around to validate and to bounce ideas off of. So the antidote to that would be you can be a great non-micromanager, but set up weekly or bi-weekly times that you have a fixed opportunity to visit with your key people. I call it a one-on-one. Talk about what questions do you have for me? How can I best support you right now? What is the biggest challenge you're facing? Hey, what's something in your personal life that you're really excited about? The goal is you're letting them do their job because you've hired smart people to take care of things that you don't have the ability to do, but also they know that you care. The worst thing is you thinking, boy, I'm a great manager because I'm not micromanaging them, but they're thinking the person doesn't care about me. You will get burned. Mistake number 9, forgetting who gave you the referral. Listen, as a business owner, I know you're busy, and it's easy to begin to focus on your highest revenue producing customers or clients. But keep in mind the person who referred those top relationships to you. Sometimes, I know in my business, it might be someone who wasn't my highest revenue producing client or even the highest asset producing client, but it was someone who trusted me and valued the advice I gave them, and they knew that if they referred people to me, that we would take good care of them. Oftentimes, I see business owners commit this fatal mistake that can crush their business and can crush that referral source. They divert their attention to what I call the shiny object. They're focused now on that high revenue producing customer that got referred to them, and they don't give the same level of love and attention to the referrer who might not be producing as much revenue for them. Keep in mind, your customers are not all about revenue. It's about relationships. There's a good friend of mine who was in the car business for many years, and he would tell me the story that some of his colleagues would go to the wall on every deal to maximize every profit. They wanted to get every dollar out of every customer. And here's what that meant. It was short-sighted business philosophy. What my friend did was he left some money on the table, gave them a good deal. They felt like they paid well for the car, but they also got a good price for it. And what that led to was a referral to the mom and the dad and the sister and the brother and the aunt and the uncle. You see, my friend wasn't looking at this as a 1-car purchase. He was looking at this as a 5 to 10 car purchase over the life of that relationship. When you focus on the people who refer you, treat them as the king and the queen, your business will feel like royalty, as will you. Mistake number 10, not giving your team a way to grow professionally and financially. There's a saying that goes like this: the salary gets them in the door, the incentive gets them wanting more. You see, many people think if I give them a big salary, they're going to be motivated and they're going to be all on and wanting to do exactly what I want them to do and grow the business. Well, granted, in today's competitive environment, you need to offer a competitive starting salary, but it's the incentives, it's the bonuses that drive people to do more. Listen, we're all kids at heart. You know, when I was a kid and I didn't want to get good grades, my parents said, hey, we'll give you, back in the day it was Chuck E. Cheese tokens, and it was cash to say, hey, if you make a grade, we'll give you an incentive. Or if you do this, we'll reward you with something. As adults, we're the same way. So keep in mind, even your highly competent, highly educated, well-skilled team, it's the incentives that will drive them. And you can make them fun as well. The bottom line is everyone in your organization, whether it be a 3-person company or a 50-person team, whatever that may be, every person needs an opportunity on the ladder to go up. If it's the administrative assistant, it might be a certain number of calls every week. It might be new ideas in the engineering department. It might be ways to save money, or you can give everybody the challenge. I call it the big 3. How can you reduce costs? How can you increase sales? And how can you grow the business? Everyone needs to have an incentive because ultimately the business owner, which is you are always making more money when you're incentivizing them to help you make more money. Don't get hung up on, oh my gosh, I've got to pay this person a bonus. If you structured it well, you probably have made at least 3 to 4 times in terms of new revenue what you're giving that person as a reward for the bonus. So don't be short-sighted. You're in the long game, but make sure every person on your team has a compelling reason to stay because you value them and you've given them a pathway to future progress. And last, I want to give you a bonus mistake that so many business owners make that I find it can crush their business and not give them the success they deserve. They lose focus on what the core problem is that their product or service solves. You see, so many business owners are busy and they think they want to start this company and do this and that, and they get distracted. You want to always stay focused on what is the core problem and the highest value that your product or service provides for your customers. And the way to do this is in your schedule, in your team meetings that you hold every single week. Have that as a question to forcibly remind you to ask the team, what is the best problem? What is the biggest opportunity that we have to serve our customers right now? And if you're going to think about new ideas, think about new innovative ways that you can take your product or service and solve more problems. Remember, it's never about the features and the benefits. Those are important, but all the customer, all the client cares about is, can you help solve my problem and can you help make my life better? Listen, if you follow those 10 and the bonus issues that I just mentioned and stop doing that, you will be the business owner you've always wanted and build your revenue to levels you never thought possible.